for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here, back to the video, and today I'm showing you guys a run offense that I use to run over every single defense in Madden 21. This is by far the best run scheme in my opinion, and the fact that you can not only use this scheme, but you can also audible to other formations and pass and run out of them. Now, before we get into the video, make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button. About 76% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. So make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to show support to the channel and support me as a creator. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You can always change your mind and unsubscribe if you want. But moving on, we're going to be in the San Francisco 49ers offense. Best playbook in the game, in my opinion, or one of them. And we're going to be running single back deuce close. Now, single back deuce close is a really underrated formation. You don't see a lot of people use it. You sometimes see like Mutt bums, Mutt casuals running like the stretch out of it, but you don't really see anybody putting together a full scheme. And overall, this is one of the most underrated formations. There's so many good plays. We're going to be talking about 3 runs out of this formation and 2 passes, but not only that, I'm going to show you guys how you can audible to other formations like I form close, like I form slot, like strong close, one of the best formations in the game. You guys all know that. So the way that you're going to have to set up your team so that you can audible is what you want to do is just throw a fullback right here. So obviously in Ultimate Team you can get some quicker guys than this player right here. But he's going to do the job. He's obviously going to play fullback, and for a strong close personnel, it's 2 running backs and 2 receivers, 1 tight end. So here we got our second running back. Again, you can just keep a tight end here. Now I do recommend getting some good blockers specifically for that halfback wham play, but overall, you can get speed, you can get a Gronk, a Shockey, whatever. But a guy like Jonnu Smith, more of a receiving tight end, he's not the best for this play, best for this formation. But moving on, let's set our audibles. I've gone ahead, preset them. We got counter weak, wham, tight end angle, and PA drag wheel. Obviously, you can set these types of audibles, strong close, to whatever you want. Here's a look at mine. I got mesh post, dive, flood drive, PA deep cross. I form close. I got power O, dive, stretch, PA tight end leak, and then you just want stretch alert bubble and dive alert bubble. I'm not going to show every single play in the audibles, but I'm just going to, briefly show you how you can switch to the formation, audible, things like that. But we're going to start out here in the stretch. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of stretch out of compressed sets like this, I'll be honest, just because a simple, cover 2 like baseline press is pretty good against this. So for example, just a cover 2 baseline press usually is pretty good to stop it. Sometimes you can get edge, you can see off the edge, but just like that, you see the corner is going to come off the edge, and it's, obviously blown up in the backfield. So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of stretch. Now there's ways to attack a baseline press style defense, but overall, you really only want to run stretch if they're compressing the box, they're pinching 9 in the box, whatever style of defense. But we're actually going to start out in the halfback wham, and then we'll move on to counter and that stretch a little bit later. Now with halfback wham, this is probably my favorite run in the game. It's really good, and it's really good for gap shoot style of defenses. So you will see 3-3-5 wide, big nickel over G, where they try and shoot that gap. Specifically out of this, people, they know stretch is coming. They're going to try and stand here and do that little gap shoot defense out of big nickel over G. And this is really good because even if they do shoot your gap out of this wham play, your tight end's going to get that little crack block and seal the edge just like this. So you see how it's just going to open up so many lanes. Really good. Now, obviously, when you're running a wham type of a play, you can't really cut it out because you have just 6 blockers in the middle right there. So you got to either cut it left up the middle or right up the middle. Again, just go ahead and run that guy up the middle. Now, some things that will happen is your center could get shedded in the second level. So something I actually tried out, a little experiment I did in Ultimate Team, is I threw Nasty Streak on my center, and he actually absolutely went crazy. I know it's not like a DB, but I noticed him just getting better animations. That might just be because he's a higher overall, but also sometimes like a left guard can go pick up the safety or whatever. Nasty Streak's decent ability. Maybe he goes pick up the slot corner, the strong safety. Also, if they're running like a spy style of defense, your center can pick up a block on the next level. But overall, get some good alignment. These guys are not very high overalls, so they're not going to exactly go crazy for you. or at least for me right now. But overall, the scheme is pretty good, especially this wham. You can't do really any other motion with it, and it is obviously a tell, but right when they see that motion, it's pretty quick. And you see, look at the big play potential up the middle. Now, you're not really expecting to get, 50-yard touchdowns, as big of a big play potential as maybe a stretch could pop off, but overall, it's a very, very solid run play. You definitely want to mix it up, and really your objective in running the wham a lot of times is to get people to pinch, just pinch their entire defense. They're going to start pressing, pinching that D-line, pinching their linebackers like this, and that's where runs like the halfback counter and the halfback stretch can pop off. Then you can audible to an I-form, slot stretch or power O and get a lot of space. But overall, the wham is really the base run for everything, every single thing else in the offense. You see that we get really decent blocks. We're just a couple of blocks away from a touchdown, you see, but 5 yards of carry, you will take that. You can also go ahead, flip the run if you want, get this fullback going or whatever. You see how sometimes the block develop unique. My fullback really didn't do anything there. The blocks just kind of developed on their own, and sometimes that will happen to where you saw, again, Blazing game right here. He actually ended up blocking nobody. I'm not sure if we'll get that same animation, but here he kind of actually does nothing, so usually what I will do is I'll ID, a linebacker or a safety if he's, completely compressed. So if I'm running wham, I might try and just ID this linebacker or the slot corner so I can get either the fullback to pick him up or the center. So you see that my center ran up and picked up that linebacker. That's kind of your objective in IDing, but that's going to do it for the wham. Don't want to spend too much time on all of these runs. We got a lot of plays to go through. We got some one-play touchdowns out of this offense, and we got some nice passing setups as well. So let's move on. We got the halfback counter week. I really like counters this year. I like them out of strong close. I like them out of deuce close. I like them pretty much out of every formation. Now with this counter, it's really just going to be a big play type potential. Look at this. Boom. You see just overall picking up a lot of yards. It's a little bit of risky play because sometimes you do get hit in the backfield, but just the objective of pretty much every offense is to get your players in open space, and this does a really good job of that. The counter, sometimes you can cut them out upfield. Right there, you see again our O-line's just getting shedded by these linebackers. Again, it's a low overall offensive line, or at least interior offensive line. But overall, if they're compressing the box, which I said they will be doing, especially if you're running wham a lot on them, then you can go ahead, hit them with this counter run, and look at that. Now, obviously that linebacker shot the gap pretty well, but usually he won't. Let's see if IDing works. And it's overall, just with these run plays, you're figuring out what's stopping things, what's, preventing you from getting that big run. Maybe it's IDing this guy, and then maybe our center picks him up. That time it was a block shed on our fullback, but if that doesn't happen, we're in a lot of space. Overall, with these runs, I like to quick snap them, get them in, the middle of an adjustment, so that maybe they're shifting one way, and then you can quick snap that counter. But overall, you do typically want to run it to the side with less people. The reason I like a deuce close offense so much is because let's pretend that they're in cover 2, because cover 3 is pretty good since you have that free safety and that slot corner. But if they're in like a cover 2 or a cover 2 man, and they just press like this, or even a stock cover 2, 2-man under, but just like this, you see we have slot corner on the right. It's easy to flip the play. They're not going to know which side you're running because there's more people on one side or less people on the other side. So I really like this style of offense because you're forcing someone to run a symmetrical defense that puts a lot of plays out of the arsenal, like 3-3-5 wide, things like that, because you can easily run a stretch to the other side. Now, for whatever reason, they just don't like to block that middle linebacker. That doesn't really happen too much online, but you see, for whatever reason, our fullback or our backside tight end doesn't really do anything. But again, that doesn't happen too often online. You can also kind of catch them off guard, just run it to the normal side of that slot corner. You can actually use a little bit of motion like this. Sometimes I like to use this backside motion and then actually go over. It just gives you a couple of other blockers. Again, really the big problem with counter is those middle linebackers, so be careful about that. But overall, you see how it could be a big play potential. Again, I'm not sure why that linebacker is unblocked every time. But earlier, I ran this online. That was never an issue. Even if we shift him over, he's going to... There we go. So we get the block. Maybe it was the particular spot, but you saw right there he got blocked. Obviously, again, we're using a low line in these pretty good Miami defense. But let's move on to our last run, the stretch. Again, you're going to want to use the stretch when they're running, cover 2-man or whatever. Just because It's obviously going to help out if you can run it to a strong side, just like this. You can cut it inside, but again, you see, we're just getting shedded to death right now. That's just a problem with low overall play. If you have high overall players, this will never happen to you. But you see how big the gaps would be if we're not getting instant shed at every play. I'm not sure why that's happening. It wasn't even happening when I was labbing this before the video. Also with stretch, you can motion him over like this and get a little motion block over on that left side because whatever reason, that guy's going to come unblocked. So that will help out, I guess, because our O-line can't hold blockers for more than 1 second. But overall, stretch is pretty decent. You can sometimes cut it outside, cut it back in, but it's not my favorite run out of the formation. Let's move on to some passes, though. I'm going to start out with a cover 3 beater out of PA tight end or PA drag wheel. What you want to do is you're going to throw Y on an out route. You're going to smart route that out route. And then what I like to do is usually just throw A on a drag and B on an in route smart routed like this. So who we're obviously going to throw it to is AJ Brown right here. And we're just going to go ahead, try and roll out to the left and throw that ball. You see right there, boom, he gets absolutely wide open. Make sure you pass it outside, but you notice that that outside third on the left is going to come down on that out route. Even though it is from like a tight end spot, you probably think, oh, it's not really going to get over in time, but it does. If you have tight end apprentice or whatever, you can throw him definitely on a corner route. But again, this cover 3 beater is really, really solid. You can also maybe motion this in route out. I don't like them as compressed, so something like this helps me out a little bit. You can get like a little chop block here and then roll out, boom, off that back foot. Tannehill doesn't really have good throw power, but you see pretty decent separation and you see how you can get it to work. Another setup with this PA drag wheel is we're going to use this crosser, so I'm actually going to flip it. So my crosser is running to this strong side of the field, and what I like to do is throw A on a streak, B on a slant, and Y on a flat like this. I can actually keep the play action. I like the play action kind of because you're running the ball so much, you can actually catch some people off guard. That was kind of a weird throw, but sometimes it can get open right there. Really, people will run man coverage on you, so if they're running man coverage, this play pretty good against man coverage, I would say. I could also run it on this wide side if I wanted to. Again, it doesn't matter a whole lot. I could keep the play action. You see we get better blocking. And this is just because Byron Jones is a very good cornerback, but that crosser type in route is pretty good. It kind of looks like a crosser, but it is almost more of an in route, I would say. But you can definitely get separation running it. It's really not too big of an issue, and again, I can throw Y on a streak, X on a slant, A on a flat, whatever, or I could flip it. Again, you can block your running back if you want, but you see the slant can get over the top, I can check down to my flat, gives me options. Moving on to our next play, tight end angle. This is just good quick snap play, so you see someone setting up, the most complicated run defense in Madden 21. Then you can just come out here, quick snap the ball. Gives you good options. He's going to pick one to use or the drag or the angle. If you notice him double flatting, just come out, snap the ball. He's not going to be able to get that double flat adjustment off. Then maybe you're able to throw this corner route. But again, it's a pretty good stock play. It's obviously not the best passing play in the game, but it gives you options. It gives you choices. I can also run this on the short side if I like that a little bit better. I do like this corner route a little better on the short side because of how much separation he's going to get on those corner routes. So sometimes you can flip it like that. But overall, just a good play. Some things that I will do is maybe I like to go with this double streak type setup or whatever. But there's just a couple of things you can do. I mean, there's not too big of setups. It's really just personal preference, kind of a freestyle type play. Mainly if I'm going to pass, I like to audible to strong close, which is what we're going to talk about now. Now, I don't have any abilities with me right now. But just showing you, you obviously want to audible like this and come out like this so that your tight end's on that short side. But just a good setup is mesh post, X on a slant. You get A on a drag, RB on a table. You can motion Davis out a step like this. Just the fact that you can audible between these is really nice to have. So you aren't forced to pass out of deuce close. This deuce close isn't exactly the best. There is typically a couple of other better pass plays, but they're in different playbooks besides 49ers, and then you can't audible to strong close and all these good I-form formations. But there's typically some better plays like PA misdirection that I don't really have right now. Another good play is this, what's it called, FL drive, where I would probably throw A on like a drag if I didn't have tight end apprentice, and then B on a slant. I would motion him over, smart route X, just like this, little basic setup. My tight end just absolutely fell to the ground, but just giving you guys a couple of options. Now, let's showcase some of the audibling that you can do. I mentioned that this I-form close is very solid to audible too. I like to audible. I like to run power O. Just flip it to that weak side. This is one of the best runs in the game. So you see, maybe our deuce close isn't working as good. Again, it works better online than it has been in these plays that I've ran, but you can always audible. So whenever I run this scheme online, I'm always audibling. I'm catching him off guard. Every time he thinks I'm going to run deuce close, I audible I-form slot or whatever. Just run this RPO. Geez, our centers got absolutely destroyed. But overall, it's just about audibling, keeping him off guard. Even if you're going to run the ball, you can. If I want to run dive or wham, maybe I want to run it out of strong close, just catch him off guard. Maybe I've audibled to strong close to pass the ball, every time, and then I catch him off with a run like this. So it's just mixing it up. Boom, look at those blocks. Gets to the outside, and you are off to the races. Stop and go on him, but overall, very, very solid run scheme. Again, you can audible to all of these formations. I-form close, slot close, and then strong close are my favorites. If I want to keep those two tight ends, I can actually audible to like this wing slot formation that's solid, but doesn't have that wing flex close that the Raiders does. So that's a little bit of the only problem with it. But overall, it's pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and peace. I'm out of here.